Hi, Ambitious Mamas. It's Lisa Brincat here. I've got Ellie and Beck. Ellie's posing as me today with the
Yes,
same name. And
channeling Lisa.
we welcome Bek Lambert to have a chat in the group today. She is a multi-passionate, multi-skilled woman with lots of interests. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, Beck.
Okay, well, when you say multi-skilled, I guess it's too much insatiably creative brain is probably the affliction that you could say that I suffer from. I have a freelancing business where I deal with content marketing and marketing itself through Unashamedly Creative. I also run another project which is called Hacking Happiness, which, as the name suggests, it's the idea of hacking the notion of what makes us happy, what makes us successful, and also looking at the impact of stress on our productivity as business owners and as freelancers and in the workplace generally. And also I am the head Minky for the Freelance Jungle, and the Freelance Jungle is a social group that basically operates online and face-to-face to help freelancers, solo entrepreneurs and startup captains get out there and actually have those conversations about the challenges that they're facing, the issues that they're having, and also just have a cheeky wine without it all being always so sell in the business space.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I think I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about a little bit more about hacking happiness. We have in our group of ambitious mamas, it's often a common theme that comes up around life after children and how you lose a bit of your identity. Things really shift, and I know it myself. When I first had my son, I probably suffered. I'm not sure if it was postnatal depression, but I definitely had a down period. I don't think I'm alone in that situation. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more around what you're doing there and what some of the insights or tips that you might be able to share that can keep us either grounded or on track with our own happiness.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure. Well, hacking happiness was that whole idea that, there's one version of happiness, there's one version of success, that, even things like stress, throwing stress out the window and sort of dampening it down and hiding it away from who we are and all those kinds of things, when they're natural organic reactions, and the more that we sort of, dive down into them and hide them away, the more prone we are to suffer things like mental health issues, anxiety, depression, and stress in a stronger form. So one of the ideas that I had with Hacking Happiness was to take those myths, to bust them, and to get people that are, constantly finding that they're on the wrong side of these constructs that they don't really fit into, and make them feel good about the fact that, they're content, that they're doing what they need to do with their business, that, as a mum or a dad, they're not failing because they can't fit into, the idealised version of what a human being is meant to be. And to also highlight the fact that when we're under stress, we reduce our productivity, we reduce our ability to perform well in business, we reduce our ability to have meaningful relationships, we reduce our own health, and we reduce our own relationship with ourselves. And if you continually put yourself under stress, then you do, unfortunately, invite things like anxiety and depression and those sorts of things to the party, which can create their own problems. So yeah, it's about getting in there and sort of saying, just because you're not at the top of the tree with a lot of money, with all of the friends and all of the shiny cars and the perfect kids and everything else, that doesn't mean that you're not a success in your own right.
Yeah, I know Ellie always reminds me of that, because we're often striving in our business. We're often looking for the next thing and moving on. And, she often reminds me that we don't need to have cocktails at the top of the mountain. We can actually have cocktails on the way.
Great, right?
I prefer to do that in tropical places as well. So we're planning on doing that relatively soon again.
Yes.
That's a beautiful message, Beck. Do you have certain things that you do yourself to reduce your stress? Do you have any tips that you could give us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one of the things that I do with Hacking Happiness is I actually run events so that people can come along and get that, celebration and that feeling of joining in and having conversations, even the difficult conversations. Like, for example, with Hacking Happiness, I operate that in Sydney and Wollongong. And next week in Wollongong, we've got a conversation that is, let's talk about death. And it's about actually bringing everyone together, because it is, as cheery as it sounds, it's Death Month in August, where people that are facing their own mortality, if you've got stress about it, if you're facing things like cancer, or you've got someone in your family where you're worried about those kinds of things, we don't often talk about those subjects. This is an opportunity to meet on a Friday, have a couple of drinks and share those fears, share those conversations and all those kinds of things. The other things that I've discovered that have worked really well for grounding me is volunteering. I volunteer with Assistance Dogs Australia, and those puppies, I help with the relief care. So I take the puppies for the weekend and relieve the puppy's stress after intensive training before it goes off to be someone's, arms or legs, or goes off to help a kid that's got autism cope with meltdowns and emotional disruptions, or soldiers that have got PTSD, or people that have got mental health issues. So that helps. And I also am a crisis supporter at Lifeline, which means that each week I go in and I volunteer to be on the phones to talk to people around the country that might be in crisis or feeling suicidal. And I think even though they're very heavy topics, death and disability and suicidality, I think it's really important for me, because it reminds me that even though my business is what makes me my money and it is part of my identity and it is who I am, there are other things that are more important or just as important in the wider scheme of things. So one of the things that I advocate with people is, if you are finding that your business is your all-consuming thing and it's too much and you're going too far into your head, go and find something that you can do that takes you away from your business for a while. If that's going and volunteering at the tuck shop, or offering to, look after the kids at the soccer training, or if it's doing the same sort of thing that I'm doing, like finding some kind of organisation and volunteering for them, it can really help you be a better business person, because what's in front of you isn't always just the stress of your business. You actually go and get to experience what it's like outside of your own head.
Yeah, it might be good advice for stay-at-home moms as well, because I think it's the same thing with your kids, to me. Anyway, like if you're always with your kids and it's always about your kids, then you need to have that switch of perspective as well to keep it, really.
Absolutely. And I mean, they've done studies into volunteering and found that people are much better able in terms of resilience to overcome problems in their life if they've got volunteering happening on the side. So if you are someone that is the primary carer for your children, or if you're the primary carer for someone who's facing a serious illness, having that opportunity to actually go out into the community, switch your brain off from those sorts of things and have a different channel of stimulation, and still feeling like you're worthwhile, that you're productive, that you amount to something, and that you're contributing, can raise your happiness, and therefore you can better face your kids, or you can better face the challenges that you've got going on in your life. Because we all want to feel like we're connected. Mm-hmm. We all want to feel like we're contributing, and we all want to feel as though, there is something a little bit more in this world other than just the problems that we're facing at a particular point in time. And if you can find that through volunteering or creativity, or joining in with your community, then it will actually make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's it's so important, and it's it's something that we often lose sight of.
You're not alone, Lisa. You're not alone.
Into where I am. If in terms of having people in our group check you out, or check out Hacking Happiness, what's the best place to do that?
Sure. Well, Hacking Happiness is hackinghappiness.com.au. It's also on Meetup if you are in Sydney or Wollongong. It's just Hacking Happiness on meetup.com.au as well if you want to meet face to face and have a chat about a difficult subject. And yeah, the various social media handles are connected to the website. Unfortunately, with something like Hacking Happiness, I've had to fight everything from, computer programmers through to people that play ice hockey to get the appropriate social media handles. So it's best to go to the website and click through from there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing it. It's been a great conversation, and love to do it again.
Yeah, great. Well, happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me along.
Pleasure.